In the last video lecture, I had explained you exercise 3.4 that was based on the topic that is median. Now in this video lecture, I am going to explain you the third type of measure of central tendency, that is mode. So first of all, let us understand what is mode. Mode means the value which is repeated maximum number of times. It means in case of raw data or discrete frequency distribution, it is very easy to find mode. The value which is repeated maximum number of times, that is considered as the mode. Or in case of discrete frequency distribution, the repeated maximum or the observation having maximum frequency. It means in case of discrete frequency distribution, the observation which is having the maximum frequency, that is considered as the mode in case of discrete frequency distribution. Because in case of discrete frequency distribution, for every value or every observation, the frequency also would be given to you. So the observation which has the maximum frequency, that will be considered as the mode in case of discrete frequency distribution. So that was the point in case of for raw data or discrete frequency distribution to find the mode. Okay. Now how to find the mode for continuous frequency distribution? Now students, just as you are finding the median class by the formula that is n by 2 in case of continuous frequency distribution, in the same way you will have to find the model class in case of continuous frequency distribution by having the highest observation or the highest frequency. Here you can see class having maximum frequency is model class. It means you are going very well, students, that continuous frequency distribution, the data would be divided into classes. So the observation of the class which is having the maximum frequency, that will be considered as the model class. Okay. So after finding the model class, you have to apply the given formula to find the mode. Now what is the formula? As you can see, mode is denoted by MO. That is the symbolic representation of mode. Okay. And O mode is equal to L plus Fm minus F1 upon 2 Fm minus F1 minus F2 into C. Now what is Fm, F1 and F2? That is a new thing over here for you. Okay. Now L you are knowing it very well, that we are applying even in median quartiles as that is lower boundary point. Okay. So L, that is representing lower boundary point of the model class. Then afterwards Fn. Fn means frequency of model class. It means suppose your class, model class is coming 20 to 30 and the frequency that is given to you 10, then this would be considered as Fm. Okay. So Fm is the frequency of the model class. Next one, that is F1. Now F1 means frequency of class prior to model class. It means above this 20 to 30 model class, the previous class that is 10 to 20 and its frequency is given to you 8. Okay. So this will be considered 8 as F1. It means prior to the model class, the frequency prior to the model class. Okay. So that will be considered as F1. And F2 means frequency of class succeeding to model class. Okay. Suppose the next class is 30 to 40 and its frequency is given to you 12. Okay. So this 12 will be considered as F2, this 8 will be considered as F1 and this 10 will be considered as Fn. Okay. Again repeating, the frequency of the model class, this is the model class for example, that is 20 to 30. So the frequency of the model class, that is 10. So this would become as Fm. And prior frequency of the class prior to the model class, that will be considered as F1. Over here 8 is F1. And the frequency of the class succeeding to the model class, that will be considered as F2. Okay. So here 12 is F2. Okay. So in this way you have to find the value according to the data given to you in the question. That is the value of Fm, F1 and F2. Okay. Next one, that is C. That is similar to that you are applying in median also, that is class length. Okay. Of the model class. Okay. Now this is the formula which you have to apply in case of continuous frequency distribution. Now students, until now we have understood which type of formula, how to find the median in case of, how to find the mode in case of raw or discrete frequency distribution, and how to find the mode by applying the given formula in case of continuous frequency distribution. Now here you can see another formula that I have written. The name I have given, that is empirical formula. Or now what is empirical formula, and when this formula is to be applied to find the mode. Okay, first of all let us understand the formula, and this formula, all these formulas that you have to remember by heart, because according to the data you can identify that which formula has to be applied in the given sum. Okay, now empirical formula is mode is equal to 3m minus 2x bar. 3m means median and x bar means mean. Okay, so 3m minus 2x bar, that is the empirical formula. Now when this empirical formula is to be utilized, up till now we have understood that if the raw data or discrete frequency distribution is given to you in the question, then you have to find the mode by having the maximum frequency or the value which is repeated maximum number of times. That will be considered as mode. In case of continuous frequency distribution in the question, then you have to apply the given formula to find the mode. Okay, but when this empirical formula to find the mode will be utilized, for that I am reading few of the points that is given to you on page number 103 of your textbook. Okay, this formula, that is 3m minus 2x bar, that is the empirical formula, and when this formula is to be utilized, there are certain situations or conditions in which this formula is to be utilized. Okay, let us see that situations that are given on page number 103. Total there are 5 different situations in which the empirical formula is to be utilized. First one, each observation appears just once in raw data. Each observation appears just once. Now how you can find the mode? If in case of raw data all the observations are repeated only once, then you have to apply the given formula in order to find the mode. Because according to raw data, if any of the observations is repeated more than once, then and then only you can consider that value as a mode. If all the value, suppose there are 10 values given to you in the given data or raw data, and all the values are repeated only once, there is none of the values which is repeated more than once, then you cannot find the mode by the formula that is for raw data or discrete frequency distribution, that is maximum number of times, because any of the data is not repeated more than once. So in that case, the given formula, that is the empirical formula, is to be utilized to find the mode. Okay. Next one, more than one observation in a frequency distribution appears with highest frequency. More than one observation, suppose discrete frequency distribution type of data is given to you in the question, and there are more than one observation that is having the highest frequency. Suppose there are 2 observations that are having the same frequency, highest frequency, that is 30, then both of the observations cannot be considered as mode. Okay, so in that case we have to apply the empirical formula to find the mode. Okay, next condition, the continuous distribution has classes of unequal length. Now in case this was the 2 situations in which there were raw data and discrete frequency distribution, in which we have to use the empirical formula. Now in case of continuous frequency distribution, if the classes are having unequal class length, it means all the classes, suppose there are 5 classes given to you and the class length is not equal of all the 5 classes, then in that case we have to apply the empirical formula to find the mode. You don't have to apply this formula to find the mode. If the classes are equal, then and then only we have to apply this formula to find the mode for continuous frequency distribution. If the classes are unequal, then we have to apply the empirical formula for continuous frequency distribution to find the mode. Okay. Next, 4th situation, the frequency distribution is a mixed distribution, that is a part of it is discrete and the rest is continuous. It means if in the question the sum is, or the question, the few of the data is discrete and some of the data is given to in continuous frequency distribution. It means, suppose I am giving you an example, there are some of the data that is given to you like this way, 10, 15, 20 and like this way, that is discrete frequency distribution. Okay, and then afterwards it has been given to you classes like this way, 20 to 25, 25 to 30 and so on. So this is a mixed observation containing both the type of distribution, that is discrete and continuous. It means some of the data that are of discrete frequency distribution and some of the data that are of continuous frequency distribution distributed in classes. Okay, so in that situation also you have to apply this formula, that is empirical formula, to find the mode. Okay. And the last condition, that is the right or left end of the curve of the frequency distribution is too extended. It means by drawing the graph, if the graph is too elongated either to the right side or to the left side, then in that utilized. So you have to remember, students, that the raw data or discrete frequency distribution, or in case of continuous frequency distribution, there are certain situations in which you have to apply the empirical formula. Again repeating, in case of raw or discrete frequency distribution, if all the observations are repeated only once, or if there are two observations that are having maximum frequency, then in that case we have to apply the formula that is the empirical formula. Another case, that is of continuous frequency distribution. In case of continuous frequency distribution, if the classes are unequal class length, there are the classes and they are having unequal class length, then also empirical formula is to be utilized. And if there is mixed observation, mixed distribution, that is in a particular sum, both the type of distribution are coming, that is discrete also and continuous also, then in that kind of mixed distribution also the empirical formula is to be utilized. Okay, so you have to understand that and decide by reading the question that which formula has to be applied to find the mode. Okay, now after understanding all the formulas to find the mode, let us understand the practical sums related to it, that is in exercise 3.5 of your textbook, that is on page number 109. Okay, I am reading the first question of exercise 3.5. The IQ level of students in a class are given below. The intelligent quotient, that is IQ level of students, that are given to you. Find the model value of IQ level of students. There are total 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. 12 students IQ level is given to you, and it has been asked you to find the model IQ level of students. It means a model class. Okay. Now how to find the mode in this type of distribution? Now first of all, you can identify that it is raw distribution, raw data. Okay, it is not discrete frequency distribution nor continuous frequency distribution. So in case of raw data, you have to identify the mode by the value which is repeated maximum number of times. Now looking at the question, you can see that the number or the value, that is 138, that is repeated 3 times, and there is no any other value that is repeated more than once or maximum number of times. Okay, so here you can see you have to write the answer only in one line. That is, in the given data, the observation 138 is repeated 3 times. So mode is equal to 138. So in this type of sum, you don't have to do any kind of calculation. Just looking at the observation of the value, you have to just see that which value is repeated maximum number of times. That is considered as the value of mode. Okay. So here the value of mode, that would be 138. Okay. Next question, that is question number 2. Let us read that. The following table gives the number of cakes sold each day at a bakery. Find the mode for sale of cakes. Now over here it is a question of discrete frequency distribution, because for each of the observation the frequency is given to you. Okay, so you can easily identify by reading the question that it is the sum of discrete frequency distribution. Now in case of discrete frequency distribution also, the observation which is having the maximum frequency, that will be considered as the value of. Okay, so here you can see from the data that here observation 30 has maximum frequency. Now which is the maximum frequency in the given data? That is 25. So the observation that is 30, that is having the maximum frequency, that is 25. So the value of mode, that would be 30 cakes. Okay, again repeating, in this type of sum also you don't have to do any kind of calculation in case of raw data or discrete frequency distribution. Only the value which is having the maximum number of times repeated, or the observation that is having the maximum frequency, that will be considered as the value of mode. Okay, so here you can see the observation 30 has maximum frequency 25. So the mode value, that would come to 30 cakes. Okay, now moving on to the third sum. The distribution of ages of 48 persons in an old age home is given below. Which formula will be appropriate to find the mode? Why? Find the model age of the persons in the old age home using the formula you have chosen. Okay. Now here you can see that it is a question of continuous frequency distribution, because the data that has been divided into classes. Okay. Now you have to decide that which formula has to be applied to find the mode. That is this one formula or the empirical formula. Now already students, I have discussed the conditions or situations in which the empirical formula has to be utilized. Okay. So first of all, The age that is given to in years, that is 50 to 60, 60 to 65, 65 to 70, 70 to 85, 85 to 100. And the number of persons, that is frequency given to you. Now from the classes you can identify that they are not, there is no equal class length. The first class that is having the class length 10, second one that is having class length 5, third one that is 5, fourth one that is having 15 classes. So from the data or the classes you can identify that these classes are having unequal class length. So when the classes are having unequal class length, in that case we have to apply the empirical formula to find the mode. Okay, so in this sum we have to find the mode by applying this formula, that is 3m minus 2x bar. Now to find the mode by this formula, first of all we have to find median and mean. After finding the median and mean, we can find the value of mode. Okay, so let us move on to the calculation of the third sum. As you can see on the board, I have done the calculation. First of all, the classes that I have written over here in the first column. Second one, that is frequency, that is also given to you in the question as it is I have copied. The total of the frequency, that is n, is equal to 48. Okay. Next one, that is mid value. Now mid value, students, if you don't remember, if you don't forget, then we have your finding in case of mean the mid value. In order to find the value of x, okay, that is sigma fx, you will get by multiplying f into x. So first of all, in case of classes, you have to find the mid value. Mid value is represented as x. Okay. So over here in the first class, 50 to 60, the mid value that will come to 55. In case of 60 to 65, 62.5. Then afterwards 65 to 70, that is 67.5. Then afterwards 70 to 85, that is 77.5. And last class, that is 85 to 100, the mid value that will come to 92.5. Now students, we are knowing how to find the mid value, that is lower limit plus upper limit divided by 2. In the first class I will give the example, that is lower limit, that is 50, upper limit, that is 60. So 50 plus 60, it will come to 110. 110 divided by 2, you will get the mid value, that is 55. So in that way you have to find the mid value of all the classes. Okay. Next one, that is fx. Okay, how to find fx, that is multiplication of f and x. Okay, so here it is 6 into 55, 330, 10 into 62.5, 625, 19 into 67.5, 1282.5, 9 into 77.5, 697.5, and 4 into 92.5 will come to 370. Okay, so the total of fx, that is sigma fx, is equal to 3305. Now the last column that I have prepared of CF, that is to find the median. Now students, you remember that in case of median you are finding the CF in order to find the median class. Okay, so for finding median we have to prepare the CF column also. Okay, so CF you are knowing how to find out, that is cumulative frequency. First one, frequency, as it is 6 plus 10, it would come to 16. 16 plus 19, 35. 35 plus 9, 44. And 44 plus 4, that is 48. And students, again repeating, the last value of cumulative frequency should be equal to the total number of frequency. Here you can see the total number of frequency, that is 48. And even the last value of cumulative frequency, that is 48. Okay. So up till here, table has been prepared. Now first of all, we have to find mean, then median, and last step, that is to find the mode. Okay. So first of all, mean formula, we are knowing x bar is equal to sigma fx upon n. Okay, sigma fx total we have got, that is 3305. So 3305 divided by n, that is 48. So divided by 48, we will get 68.85 years. Because whatever the data that is given of age in years, so always don't forget to put the unit in whatever the answers you get. Okay. So the first answer you will get, that is 68.85 years. Now after finding the value of x bar, next step is to find the median. Okay. Now median, this is continuous frequency distribution. So first of all, to find the median class, we have to apply the formula, that is n by 2. What is n? That is 48. So 48 divided by 2 is equal to 24th observation. Okay. Now 24 will come in the cumulative frequency, that is 35. So our median class, that would be 65 to 70. Okay. So here you can see I have written the median class, that is 65 to 70. Okay. So based on that class, we have to apply the formula to find the median. You have to remember, students, this formula to find the median, that is L plus n by 2 minus CF upon F plus n by 2 already we have found out that is 24 minus CF. Now CF of the previous class, that is 16. Okay, so 24 minus 16 upon F. F of the same class, that is 19. So upon 19 into class length. Class length of 65 to 70, that would be 5. Okay, so into 5. Okay. Now 65 plus 24 minus 16 is equal to 8. 8 divided by 19 into 5 you will do, then you will get the answer, that is 2.11. Adding that value with 65, you will get the answer, that is 67.11 years. That is value of median. Okay. So up till now we have found out mean and median. After finding the value of mean and median, we can easily find the value of mode by applying the empirical formula. Okay. So here you can see I have applied the empirical formula, that is 3m minus 2x bar. Now 3 into bracket m means median. What we have got the value of median, that is 67.11. So 3 into 67.11 minus 2 into x bar. What we got the value of x bar, that is 68.85. Okay, so 2 into 68.85 would come to 137.7. Okay, so 3 into 67.11 it would come to 201.33 minus 137.7. You will get the answer of mode, that is 63.63 years. So in this way, whenever the classes are having unequal class length, students don't forget to apply the formula of mode, that is empirical formula to find mode. Okay, you cannot apply the formula, that is this one, that is L plus Fm minus F1. Okay, so whenever the classes are having unequal class length, you have to apply the empirical formula to find the mode. And in order to find the mode by this formula, you have to compulsory find both the values, that is mean and median. Okay, so in this way you have to do the calculation. Now after understanding the question number 3, we'll be moving on with the question number 4 of the same exercise. Now let us read question number 4 of the same exercise, that is 3.5. Comment on the mode for the following data showing the time taken in seconds for 8 competitors in a running race. Now you don't have to find mode over here. You have to just comment on the mode of the data given to you. Okay, let us see the data first of all. 25.2, 26.5, 28.6, 32.1, 29, 29.3, 31.3, 27.8. By looking at the data, students, you can easily understand that there is none of the observation that is repeated more than once. So according to the first conditional situation of empirical formula, when there is no observation that is repeated more than once, then in that case we have to find the mode by using the empirical formula. So here you cannot find the mode which is having the highest observation or the highest value. So you have to find the mode in this type of sum by applying the empirical formula. But this sum will not be doing because it has been told only to comment. We don't have to find the mode of this question. That's why you have to write just one line in the answer, that we cannot find the mode in this question by having the highest value because none of the observation is repeated more than once. So in this type of sum we can find the mode only by applying the empirical. Okay, so you have to just write a single line in this type of sum. Only it has been asked to comment, not to find the mode. Okay. Next, moving on, the fifth question of the same exercise, that is very important because these two sums, in these two sums we have to find the mode by using the graphical method. Now, how to find the mode by graphical method, that will understand by these two sums. So let us read question number 5. The table below shows the data about weight of 86 apples from a garden. Find the mode for the weight of apples. About weight of 86 apples of a particular garden, then weights are given to you. You have to find the mode for the weight of apples. After the table, there is one line also given to you. Also find the mode of this distribution graphically. It means you have to find the mode of this data by both the methods, by applying the formula also and by graphical method also. Okay, so let us decide first of all by looking at the data that which formula of mode is to be applied. Over here you can see that all the classes that are having equal class length. Okay, and there is not a mixed distribution, that is half of the data is discrete or half is continuous. That type of question is not over here. So you have to apply this formula, that is L plus Fm minus F1, this formula for continuous distribution to find the mode in this sum. And after finding the mode by applying this formula, you have to also find the mode by the graphical method. Okay, so first of all, we'll find the mode by applying the formula of mode, okay, for continuous frequency distribution. As you can see on the board, the table that I have prepared, the first column, that is of classes, okay, and that is already given to you in the question. 120 to 130, 132, 140, up till 180 to 190. Okay, the frequency that is also given to you in the question as it is written from the textbook. Now you have to decide first of all the model class. Now how to decide the model class? The class which is having the maximum frequency. Here you can see the maximum frequency, that is 23. So our model class, that will be 150 to 160. Okay, so our model class what it will become? 150 to 160 because it is having the maximum frequency out of all the frequency, that is 23. Okay, so based on this model class we have to apply the formula. What is our formula? L plus Fm minus F1 upon 2Fm minus F1 minus F2 into C. Already students have explained you what is Fm, F1 and F2. Now moving on and applying the data of the data in the given formula. Okay. First of all, L. What is the lower limit or the lower boundary point of the model class? That is 150. So 150 plus Fm means of the same class, model class frequency, that is 23. So 23 minus F1. F1 means of the previous class. Okay, that would be 19. So 23 minus 19 upon 2 Fm. 2 Fm means 2 into 23 minus F1, that is same 19 minus F2. What is F2? Of the succeeding class frequency, that would be 10. Okay, so minus 10 into C. C means class length, that would be 150 to 160. So our class length, that would be 10. Okay, so multiply by 10. Now doing the calculation, 150 as it is plus 23 minus 19, you will be doing, then you will get 4. 4 into 10 you will get 40. Okay, so I have written in the numerator, that is 40. 40 divided by 2 into 23 will come to 46. So 46 minus 19 plus 10 will come to 29. So 46 minus 29. Okay, so 150 plus 40 upon 46 minus 29 will come to 70. Okay, so 40 divided by 70, it will come to 2.35. That you will add with 150, then you will get 152.35 grams. Because all the weight of the apples that is given to you in grams. So whatever the answer of mole that comes to you, that also you have to apply the unit, that is grams. Okay, so we have found the value of mode of continuous distribution by applying the formula, and the answer we got, that is 152.35 grams. Now we have to find the mode also by graphical method. Now how to find the mode by graphical method? You can see the basic concept is the same as you have already studied in the previous chapter, that is the graphical representation. Same way, the horizontal line, that will be x-axis, the vertical line, that will be y-axis. Then after scale you have to mention, on the x-axis you are representing the weight of the apples, that is in grams, and on the y-axis you are representing the number of apples. Okay, and don't forget to write the scale on the right top corner. Okay, here you can see x-axis I am representing 1 centimeter is equal to 10 grams. Okay, because the data that has been given to you of the classes, that is from 120. Okay, so you cannot start your class, or you cannot start representing on x-axis from 10, 20, 30 up till you have to represent 190. Then the x-axis will become quite bigger. Okay, so in order to start with the first class, that is 120, I have done 2 zigzag line over here, that is representing that initially the gap is not maintained equal. Okay, so this you have to do in the initial stage, and you will start with 120. Then afterwards equal gap has been kept of 10 grams. Okay, so 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180, 190, because last class that is having 190. Okay, so x-axis that is representing 1 centimeter is equal to 10 grams. Now y-axis, that is 1 centimeter is equal to 2 apples, because your maximum frequency, that is 23. So each centimeter you will be representing 2 apples. Okay, so 2, 4, 6, 8 up till 24, that you will be representing on y-axis. Now after deciding the scale and the representation on x-axis and y-axis, let us represent the data that has been given to the question in the graph. Okay. Now the first data that has been given to you, that is 120 to 130, that is frequency 8. Okay, so you have to draw bars, that is 120 to 130. The first bar that would be on 8, second one that is for 13, next one that is 19, fourth one that is 23, fifth one that is 10, and sixth one that is 8, and seventh one that is 180 to 190, that will come to 5. Okay, so in this way you are going this up till here, how to draw the bars. Okay, that is bar graph that you have already understood in chapter number 2. Okay, now after representing the bar graph, how to find the mode? Now you are knowing the bar that is having the highest frequency, that is this one, 150 to 160. Okay, so you have to give the name over here to two endpoints, that is AB. Okay, and the previous class that is having the frequency that is 90, you give the name that is CD, the endpoints of that bar as CD. Similarly, the next bar, give the name to the two endpoints, that is E and F. It means whatever the bar that is having the maximum frequency, give the name that is A and B to the two endpoints. Okay, and the previous class bar, you give the name to the two endpoints C and T, and the next class bar, you give the name to the two endpoints E and F. Okay, so after giving this such names, first of all AB, previous class CD, and next class that is EF. Now we have to intersect, join the two line segments. Now which line segments that you have to join? Students, pay attention. You have to join A with E and B with D. A with E and B with D. Whenever you do cross these two diagonals, at which point that two diagonals intersect, that point you have to put a dotted line, and that would be your value of mode. Okay, again repeating, first of all, the maximum frequency bar, you have to give the name that is A and B to the two endpoints. To the bar of the previous class, you have to give the name to the two endpoints, that is C and D. And to the next class two endpoints, that bar, you have to give the name that is E and F. Now you have to join the two line segments, that is A with E and B with D. Again repeating, you have to join the line segments, that is AE and BD. That two line segments, when they intersect, at that point, from that point you have to draw a dotted line, and that value which you get on x-axis, that will be your value of mode. Here you can see the value is coming over here, and that is 150, more than 150 and less than 160. But it is nearby to 150, so approximate value I have counted, that is 153. Okay, so what you got the answer by the formula, that is 152.35, and by graphical method you have got the value of mode, that is 153 grams. Okay, so nearby value you will be getting by the graphical method. Exact value you can get only by the formula. But in this question it has been asked to you to find the mode by both the method, by applying the formula also and by graphical method also. So in students, whenever in exam it would be given to you to represent or to find the mode by graphical method, then you have to find the mode in this way. Okay. After understanding the question number 5, let us move on to question number 6. That is also to represent or to find the mode by graphical method. But it is something what different than the 5th sum. Let us read question number 6. The data about the monthly house rent paid by 50 families is given in the following table. It means house rent of 50 families data has been given to you in the table. Okay. House rent, that is 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30 and 30 to 50. From the data you can identify that they are of unequal class length. Okay. So here you cannot apply the formula that is L plus Fn minus F1 because the classes that are having unequal class length. Okay. Next one, that is number of families, that is frequency given to you. Find the mode for house rent using graphical method. Now over here it is given to you clearly that you have to find the mode by using graphical method only. That's why we are not applying the empirical formula. If it was told that to find the mode, then by appropriate formula, then we would have found the mode by applying the empirical formula in question number 6. But over here it is clearly mentioned that we have to find the mode by using graphical method. So we will find the mode only by graphical representation. Now let us see how to find it. Here you can see there are unequal classes given to the question. Frequency, that is also given to the question. Now first of all I found the class length. Now this type of sum, whenever it has has been told to you to find the mode by graphical method, and whenever the classes are having unequal class length, in that case you have to find the proportionate frequency. Now what is proportionate frequency? How to find it? Okay. Here you can see I have written the formula proportionate frequency. Proportionate frequency is equal to class frequency upon class length multiplied by minimum class length. Again repeating, class frequency, it means of that particular class whatever frequency is there. So class frequency upon class length of that class, whatever is the class length, multiplied by minimum class length. Out of all the classes, whichever class is having the minimum class length, by that value you have to multiply. Okay. So here you can see I have written the column that is proportionate frequency. Before that I have written C. C that is class length. Because here each and every class are having unequal class length. So class length would come different for all the classes. Okay. For the first class it is 5, second one 5, 10, 10 and 20. Okay. Now how to find proportionate frequency by the given formula? First of all, class frequency. What is the class frequency of this class? That is 1. So 1 upon 5. 5 that is class length. What is the class length of this class? That is 5. So 1 by 5 into minimum class length. Out of all the class length, which is the minimum value of class length? That is 5. So each and every value you have to multiply by 5. That is the minimum class length. Okay. So 1 by 5 into 5 will come to 1. Here you can see all the values that are multiplied with 5 because that is the minimum class length of all the classes. Okay. Now the second one, that is the you have to apply, that is class frequency. What is the class frequency? 7. 7 upon class length, that is 5. Multiply the minimum class length, that is 5. So we will get 7. Next one, what is class frequency? 14. 14 upon 10 multiplied by 5, that will come to 7. Next one, 16. 16 divided by 10 multiplied by 5, 8. Next one, 12. 12 divided by 20 into 5 will come to 3. So in this way you have to find the proportionate frequency. From the proportionate frequency you have to find the maximum frequency. That would be your model class. Okay. Here you can see the maximum frequency, that is 8. You have to find the model class from the proportionate frequency. Students, not from the frequency. Okay, you have to find the model class from the proportionate frequency. In this type of sum, when it is told to find the mode by graphical method when the classes are unequal, in that case you have to find the model class from the proportionate frequency having the maximum frequency. Okay. So here out of 17783, the maximum frequency, that is 8. So our model class, that will be 22. Okay. Now after finding the proportionate frequency, we have to represent it by a graphical method. Here you can see I have drawn a graph, horizontal line that is x-axis, vertical line that is y-axis. Scale that I have represented on the right top corner, that is x-axis 1 cm is equal to 5,000 rupees. Because whatever the classes that are given to you, that is starting from 0 up till 50. Okay, so here you can see I represented 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45 up till 50. Okay, so I have kept the gap of 5,000 rupees, equal gap. So at x-axis I am representing the classes. Okay. Now on y-axis what I am representing, that is family. Okay. What is being given to you in the question, that is number of families. X-axis we are representing the house rent in 1,000 rupees, and y-axis that we are representing number of families. Okay. Now number of families, that is lowest, that is 1, and maximum, that is 8. Okay, so I carried forward my data from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9 up till 9. Okay, so scale on y-axis, that is 1 centimeter is equal to 1 family. Okay, now after deciding the scale and representing x-axis and y-axis, let us place all the data of the question in the graph. The first part, that is of 0 to 5 frequency, you have to see the proportionate frequency only. The proportionate frequency is 1. So here you can see the first part, that is of 1. Second part, that is 7. So that is from 5 to 10, 7. Third part, that is from 10 to 20. That is also 7. Then afterwards 20 to 30. That is maximum frequency, that is 8. Next one 30 to 50. Okay, last class, that is 30 to 50. The proportionate frequency, that is 3. So here you can see it is representing 3. Okay. So in this way you have to draw the bars. Now as I have told you or I have taught you in the previous sum, that is question number 5. In the same way here also the the highest frequency, the two endpoints, so to give the name that is A and B. What is the bar that is having maximum frequency? That is 8. So the two endpoints have given the name that is A and B. The previous class two endpoints have given C and D, and the succeeding class the two endpoints have given the name that is E and F. Okay. Now we have to join which two line segments? That is AE and BD. Okay. By joining these two line segments, whatever the intersection point comes, from there you have to draw a dotted line to the x-axis, and wherever it meets on x-axis, that will be your value of mode. Okay. So here you can see I have joined the two diagonals, that is AE and BD. They are intersecting at this point. You can give any of the name also to this point. Okay. So I have drawn a dotted line from that point, intersection point, and it is meeting and on x-axis at the value that is 22. So the value of mode that will come to 22,000 rupees. So here you can see it is not coming exactly in middle of 20 to 25. It is less than 22.5. So approximate value of mode that will come to 22,000 rupees. So in this way you will find the mode by graphical method. So students, that's all for today. This was the last topic of this chapter. In the next video lecture, I will be explaining you few of the typical sums of exercise 3. Till then, goodbye. Keep practicing. Stay blessed.